Hey guys, I want to say something. It's quite serious.
Gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing.
That's how we're starting this, huh?
Oh yeah.
What did Guy have in your coffee this morning?
Welcome back to the Madman Pod, everyone, where we talk marketing, branding, trends, bunch of shit. America would have probably loved to see Jake Tapper ask Trump last night about the Hawk 2 girl. Wouldn't you guys say?
I don't know, man. At least all the answers.
Couldn't make.
Yeah, we would know what Trump would say, right? Like, very fine young lady. She is going places.
That's a pretty good impression.
Oh, really? I guess I got to make this a new personality trait about me then.
Hey, we have a fourth member of the podcast join us here today.
Guys, we got to talk about Biden, though. Like, that performance was so bad. Like, so bad. What am I missing here?
Hey, man, he got stage fright. And you can kind of say that he got stage fright or he's old. I don't know. I mean, like, you tell me. It could be either or. It was a struggle to watch.
For my own mental health, I turned it off after 5 minutes. And then everything I heard about it, I heard after. I wasn't going to watch that.
All right. Well, look, Trump wasn't that great either, but in comparison, I think, when you're given, it's like Oppenheimer and Barbie, right? Like you were forced to make a pick, and I think there was a clear pick. Trump showed that, I guess the poll came out that 67% of Americans thought Trump clearly won that. So guys, today's a controversial episode. Could you tell we started with Hawk 2 and politics? I mean, it's going to be pretty controversial. Hope everyone gets their tinfoil hats on. We are talking about hot takes. I got to hear the juiciest hot takes, whether it's about trends, whether it's about the future of America, whether it's about things about marketing that you guys see coming and that maybe others don't. We need to hear your juiciest hot takes, guys. And today we are just going to get into it. I mean, we have some really good ones, but I'll kind of go ahead and throw out a hot take here since we started off with the presidential debate. I think we need to have an age limit for political office. There, I said it. I'm not taking it back. I mean,
so what is that age number?
I don't know what the age number should be, but here's my reasoning. Think of your sweet grandpa, right, who does crossword puzzles, yells at cars for being too loud in the street, right? He still reads the news and, from the paper guy coming around. He uses an iPad to go on Facebook, right? Like, imagine him running for president.
Yeah, I'm not excited about that thought.
That's what we have. Those are two choices, guys. Like, they're two senile old men that should not be taking us to the next generation. Like, this is just, it's idiotic. And that's my hot take. So without further ado, we got to get into everyone's hot takes. Let's do this.
Men go mad.
Who's gone mad?
Mad Men.
The man's back.
Mad Men.
I'm mad.
All right, Samir, I want to hear what you have first. What's your hot take for today?
All right, you guys ready? And I'm sticking to the marketing world. It's a hot take to me, but I think you guys might like it too. Brand loyalty is bullshit. So let's get into this. Brand loyalty has been a cornerstone for business success, right? It's a huge metric that companies use to evaluate success. And they invest heavily in strategies to foster and maintain brand loyalty. Well, guess what? You're lying to yourself if you believe brand loyalty is a real thing. We live in an age of instant gratification and seemingly endless options. We are now an on-demand society where speed and convenience are now paramount. We prioritize immediate satisfaction over long-term allegiance to a brand. And if a brand fails to deliver their promise, we are so quick to switch to a competitor. And that is because consumers have no patience for brand issues or service disruptions. A single negative experience can cause a consumer to completely abandon the brand. What kind of loyalty is that? In most cases, the market is saturated with a plethora of brands offering similar things. And we can switch brands really without any real repercussions. Modern consumers also are highly price sensitive. Discounts, promotions, loyalty points often override any existing brand allegiance, which brings me to what you are probably thinking in your head. What about loyalty programs? Here's my hot sub take. Loyalty programs have nothing to do with brand loyalty. You aren't loyal to Starbucks. You love the gamified experience of Starbucks rewards. You are not loyal to Kroger. You love discounts and deals. Loyalty programs and exclusive perks are designed to manipulate customers into spending more rather than rewarding genuine loyalty. Brand managers out there, you are lying to yourself if you think your amazing loyalty program has anything to do with brand loyalty. Consumers have so much power, the power to choose, the power to abandon, the power to ignore, the power to follow, like, and subscribe. Consumer brand interactions are increasingly transactional rather than relational. Driven by convenience and immediate satisfaction, you're kidding yourself if your corny TV ads, emotional storytelling, and loyalty punch cards are creating any real brand loyalty. You aren't loyal to Apple. You love the product ecosystem that Apple has created, and you don't want to be that embarrassing green bubble text message in the group chat. Don't get brand loyalty confused with brand love. People can love your brand, but it's stupid to think that love means loyalty. In this age of instant gratification, abundant choices, price sensitivity, consumer empowerment, brand loyalty just does not exist. It's complete bullshit.
Wow, strong take, Samir. I think you're right. I mean, I really don't care for Starbucks coffee, but I like to see the stars rack up. And I don't really care about American Airlines, but I like to know that I'm collecting miles, right? Like there's something that's in it for me. That's really interesting take, man.
Look, I'll take the other side of that, right? I think, look, you bring up good points. I agree, but I think in a world where you're like saturated with all these brands, I think it's like comfort to go to a brand that you know was reliable, right? You know, and you'll give them the benefit of the doubt, right? The problem is when you switch a brand, and you're not new to that brand, you're gonna like, okay, fine, they messed up, but I'm gonna switch quicker. But if I've been a loyal fan to, let's call it Apple, which, you know, I talked about it earlier before the pre-show, right? Phone messed up, went to Apple, they fixed it, got me a new phone, real quick, real bad. Like I was pissed off for 3 days that I couldn't get it fixed, but I fixed it. I went back and they're good. There's no reason I'm going to switch back, right? They take care of me because I have that brand loyalty to them, whatever that may be, right? But you've built that community, you've got that, and I have no reason to go and look at other competitors or look at other brands because I've built that brand and you built that loyalty to it. I guess I don't know how you know, I'm on the other side of that hot take and think it's still valuable. Well, my hot take, I'm going to say it and I can't take it back. But limited drops are a scam. I mean, come on, guys. This is straight up manipulation to the market. Like, they curate these artificial scarcity of this product. Hey, I'm going to do a collab with so-and-so, Louis Vuitton and Nike, or I'm going to drop these weird-ass Nike shoes, or get this John Mayer AP watch that maybe there's 10 of in the world, and I do the limited, and I'm going to rack up the price like 100x. And they think they're going to create value, and they're going to create this perceived exclusivity, and yeah, absolutely. Some people fall for it, but all they have to do is do a re-release. Like, all they have to do is a re-release, and the whole scam is broken. Like, it's that, like, money takes over everything. All they need is a one bad quarter, and they will then eventually do a re-release of the same shoe, same watch, same product, same shirt, whatever it is. And you now have lack of scarcity, and it's gone, right? That investment risk is all there, and all it is now is just a hype. And hypes die, and you've seen that over and over again. Look at StockX at any given point. Take one product and then look at it a year later, and it'll be half that. And then you have no transparency then, right? You're like, hey, it could be the same product with a double name on it. Supreme was king for this, right? It was a damn Hanes shirt, and they would tag it with other things, and it just was no product. So I think these scams of just doing these limited drops or just thinking about, hey, I'm going to do a collab temporary with Travis Scott and throw a backwards Nike logo on something, that's all just a scam.
Okay, interesting one, because last week we talked about how Gen Z is investing in more collectibles, and they're really legitimizing them by saying these are actual investments. So isn't like investing in a collectible and the belief that it will grow in value it's kind of an emotional one? So you think that if I buy it at a low, it means something more to them in the future they're going to pay me more for this. Like, isn't that what the whole thing is with these single drops? Like, someone who is a Supreme collector in 10 years may go and pay a lot for anything that was produced Supreme, even if it is a Hanes shirt.
You know, the limited edition piece of it, I think there is a flaw to think that the actual product that you think they're trying to sell is the limited edition drop. The purpose of the limited edition drop is to inject some marketing fuel for the master brand. And let me give you a prime example about how limited edition works in CPG, right? Oreo by Mondelez, known for having how many different limited edition flavors out there? But what comes with the limited edition flavor is a co-merchandising display at a grocery store with you have that Lady Gaga flavored Oreo next to 5 cases of the base pack of Oreo double stuff. Now, what the limited edition drop is just drove the entire brand, the master brand. That to me is what the limited edition strategy is. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it is actually a really clever use of culture to drive incrementality for that period of time. But the real KPI is the master brand. It is not just the product. The product itself is going to go away. And like you said, in the sneaker world, it ends up living half the price on StockX. That wasn't the goal. The goal of the limited edition drop was not to sell the limited edition drop. It was to sell the entire brand. I think that's where it works.
Yeah, I agree. I think, that's probably what it's all about, right? It's like there's some kind of brand equity and knowing that you got one thing from this brand that you like. But, Samir, there's no brand loyalty after all, right? Like, right? You just kind of want to have bragging rights maybe to get these pieces. I'm going to tell you guys mine. And I'm sure everyone's going to think I'm going to go political. Kind of not. But, some may think of this as political. So let's see. Did you guys ever notice that this year we didn't really have a winter? I mean, it got chilly a little bit, and we had a lot of rain. But it didn't ever really get cold. Like legit, Christmas Day, I was wearing shorts. And if you are a climate change denier, you're probably an idiot. That's not my hot take, though. And you may, if you are a climate change denier, you may have some idiot friends too. Like seriously, I mean, climate change is real and it's something that we're all going to be dealing with. I know what the trailer park bros are going to say, like, well, the climate is always changing. No, Ricky Bobby, this is for real. Like humans are causing climate change. The warming of the planet is legit, like raising sea levels at an insane rate. There's like when I was doing the research behind this, there's actual cities on the coast of Louisiana that have had to leave their homes because over 10 years they've seen now the homes they were living in are now underwater. I mean, it's like that. So my hot take is that majority of Americans living on coastlines will be forced to leave their homes. So to kind of like give you guys an idea, like I think like millions of people will have to leave Miami, San Diego, Charleston, North Carolina, all New York City, all the major cities on the coastlines will seriously have to face leaving their home because of rising sea levels. I have some data to back it up. It is estimated that by 2050, climate change could force between 150 million and 1 billion people to migrate. This is worldwide, of course, but imagine the effect that we're going to have in America. I mean, these are some major cities on these coastlines, right? So why are we talking about this on a marketing show? Why are we talking this on a show that we talk about business strategies and things like that? This is going to significantly change our day-to-day, right? Inland cities will see a huge influx of people. The economics of the city will change drastically, right? All of a sudden, it's going to make sense to have a local store again in those cities, whereas in Miami, it will not. Real estate is going to skyrocket in random places like Oklahoma and, wherever, right? St. Louis and all these inland cities will now have huge influxes of people coming in. Think about even fashion. I mean, this is the world I dabble in, right? So you won't be by the beach anymore. So things like beachwear and swim and whatnot, like all the recreational activities will go away, right? For surfing on a regular basis and stuff, or you may be surfing in Atlanta at some point at the rate that everything's going. People who decide to leave any of the colder places who are also experiencing insane heat right now, we may stop wearing as many layers of clothing. So the idea of wearing a pea coat over your clothes is probably going to go away, right? Like in New York City. These changes are going to actually affect how we act as consumers. So that's my hot take, guys. I think climate change is going to actually have a huge environmental, of course, but economic and day-to-day impact for all of us inland places. Like, Salim, what's your weather like right now in Houston? You got to tell us.
It's hot. It's like, it was 100 degrees at 11 something Fahrenheit for anybody that's across the globe, but it was hot. And look, I hear you. And Trump, for your 2025, the 2038 plan, or whatever the hell the plan he has, Trump 2028, or whatever the plan is, build a wall in the sea instead of the border might be valuable. Helps us sea life. But look, I think there's going to be change, and you're right on, dude. That's a crazy take on the environment, but going inwards and these, how it's going to change what we dress, what we do, how we market people, and what businesses are going to arise. It's that's a crazy thought, man. But it's something that we got to talk about, and we got to at least spread the knowledge and say, hey, look, if we're not taking a look at it, and you're not walking to a store that's talking about ESG and all the economical stuff that we need to do and environmental stuff that we need to do, and you're not doing it, I think it's going to be a rough time for our kids and our kids' kids.
Yeah, it's a really interesting take. From what I remember about U.S. history, why all of these cities along the coastal lines even were established was because of shipping ports. They were how you did trade, and that's where those like mass migrations and started to build establishing communities from there. I don't have the data in front of me, but I wonder how much are we still reliant on shipping ports for international trade? I'm going to assume that it's not as much as we used to. So can we get by without living on the coastal line? It's interesting. No, it's a really good take.
All right, Samir, what do you got next?
All right. Guys, the customer is not always right. There's an old adage, sure you've heard it, right? The customer is always right. It has long been a principle for businesses aiming to provide exceptional customer service, ensure customer satisfaction, like Salim going to the Apple store. But was Salim always right? Probably not. But I make the argument that the customer is not always right. I would say the customer is almost always wrong. Let's look at the typical product marketing approach, right? Any type of product, a tech product, apparel, whatever. You build something, you create something, and then you go to the market to test that thing. You get that product in as many hands as possible, and you collect feedback. Then you optimize and alter your product. Feedback is inherently subjective. Different customers have different expectations, backgrounds, levels of satisfaction, and even levels of understanding your product. What we tend to forget is the market is extremely diverse. When you continue to alter a product to meet diverse and sometimes conflicting customer demands, you dilute the brand's identity and core values. A strong, consistent brand message should build lasting customer relationships, not be changed to meet everyone's needs. You can't please every customer. You have to stay true to your vision. We talk a lot about brand authenticity on the show. Authenticity doesn't come from your customers. It comes from you, the brand. And you can't let customers dictate how and what you should say or do. Customers are not the experts in product design or market trends or brand strategy. They could suggest changes that are impractical, unfeasible, or even detrimental to your brand's long-term success. And customers have unrealistic expectations about what a brand can or should deliver. Remember when we talked about brand loyalty and how one little mistake can make a customer abandon you? How are they guiding your brand when tomorrow they can just abandon you? This leads me to my main point. Innovation requires vision, not consensus. Some of the most successful brands and products that were born from visionary leaders who trusted their intuition and went against the grain. They were not swayed by the noise of customer feedback. Truly innovative products face initial resistance. That's a good thing. If customers push back against your product, it means you are truly pushing them, which means that is how innovation is supposed to work. They aren't supposed to get it. They aren't supposed to be used to it. So in my old take here, the customer is not always right. And in fact, they're almost always wrong. So set your brand vision and stick to it.
It's a really interesting take because, there was, I forget the person who, I saw a video from him the other day. He said, listen less to your customers, listen more to your employees. And this wasn't like, I initially rolled my eyes because I was like, is this like LinkedIn type of content, trying to get a bunch of likes from future employees? No, he was trying to say was that employees are the best filter for customer feedback, right? And they know what is viable, what's not. And so you may take some information from a customer and say, oh, no, we got to do this because this is important for our customer. But your employee or an account manager or someone who deals with them can actually know what aspects are actually important or what would be viable for the masses of clients and customers. Really interesting take. Salim, what are your thoughts on that?
It's Steve Jobs was famous for saying that, right? A lot of times people don't know what they want until you show it to them. And that's a lot of what that innovation comes from, right? And it's 100% true. I think a lot of times customers don't know what they want. What you want to do is always look at their perception and say, hey, look, I am, and in my one, it's always like, I'm a CIO, I'm a CISO. What can I use? What would be valuable to me? And then go build it, or then go deliver it, right? It's always looking at the perception of the customer, but not the actual customer and talking to him. So I think you're right on with that. And I would definitely second that most customers are always wrong. But our job is, as brand loyalists, people or marketers, our job is to make it, in the world of Yelp and the world of reviews and Google reviews and all this stuff, our job is to make them sound like they're right, but even though they're probably wrong. Yeah, I'm famous for telling my kids I'm always right in my head. So your job is to correct. Your job is to prove me wrong, but in my head, I'm always right.
You don't think those customer reviews are manipulated at all?
I think it's all about timing. Like we do that customer surveys, and you definitely do customer surveys. I know that, right? We do the SAT scores, and and on the consulting side, we recommend it a lot, right? Because it makes you look good as a brand, but it's always the right customers or you pick the customers, you pick the people that are happy, you get them when they're at the best, you get survey when they're at the right place, right? You don't get them in the wrong spot because people don't go out of the way to go write complaints.
Salim, what's your next take, man?
Man, this one's going to hurt for a lot of people because I know that people make money off of this, but man, health and fitness brands sell false hope, man. It's a big take about health and fitness brands significantly influencing public perception of health and wellness. So you look at any brand, Gymshark, look at vitamin brands like, Optimum Protein or Alo or Lululemon. I mean, you look at all these brands and always ripped guys and healthy guys doing awesome things. And you think you're going to like, oh, hey, if I wear Nike, I'm going to look, shredded, or if I drink Gymshark, Optimum Protein, or GNC, all of these guys sell false hope, man. It's if you don't know what you're doing, and 99% of the people don't know what they're doing. You go to Peloton is riding, but god damn it, I've been riding that damn bicycle for a year and a half now, and I still ain't got no damn abs. Like, come on, guys. Like, this is, like it's really much about motivation and inspiring that thing, and just like, it's just misperception, dude. Misrepresentation. There's no science behind any of half the shit to talk about. It's just, hey, this is who we are. And you just throw a bunch of images of models and fitness influencers. And now you got this brand that talks about fitness and wellness. And at the end of the day, 99% of their customers are fat guys just sitting around and watching TV.
I think it's an interesting take, Salim, because I heard some crazy stat about weight loss. Like, if you can be any weight loss company, or if you ever want to get famous on TikTok, start giving weight loss advice. And even if it makes no sense whatsoever, just by saying, this is how I lost 20 pounds. And then you just like overnight, those videos just hit. And it's just, there's something about wishful thinking that people gravitate towards. I had an interesting discussion with our ad buying company, and they were talking to us about our photos. And this kind of relates because it's important. It's all about being aspirational, though. So the reason why these companies do find success is they sell aspiration. They do not necessarily expect you to reach your goal, right? So I was telling them that our best-selling size is a medium and large. So they said, okay, so then don't have medium and large models. And I said, how does that make any sense? They said, no, you need to have small and medium models because a large looks at a medium and aspires to be her, and a medium looks at a small and aspires to be her. I know it's a sick idea, right? But aspirational marketing is the way to go. So like, this is exactly what these health and fitness companies sell is aspiration, right? You always, even the most chiseled guy out there still sees some flaws and he looks at someone else and says, oh, I want to be like him. Or I want my shoulders to look like his, or I want my biceps to look like his, right? Or hers, if they're, anyways, but that's just how this works. Samir, don't you think?
Yeah, if we stop selling aspiration, marketing doesn't exist. And can you just imagine a world where, like, where that happens? I feel like we would all just be such nice people. I feel like there would just be peace in the world where we don't want anything. We are happy as we are, who we are, what we look like. That you just eliminated the desire to be this way or look like that or say this thing. And I feel like that's such a zen. It's such a utopia to take that happen. Oh man, marketers are evil, guys. That's what I'm learning from that take.
And it's part of the gig, I guess. We touched this a little bit, right? Because we were like, vacation day this past weekend, and we were at the beach in the pool area, and we see like majority of the people are not in shape, and including us, and there's a bunch of like 2 or 3 people that are like super ripped, and I'm like, everybody here talks about being fitness. I was like, me and my wife were like, hey, we work out like 5 days a week, we eat pretty good, and this is still not even close. Like, and we listen to all these people, we watch all these shows, and it's just all hype.
All right, I got a good one for you guys. Y'all ready for this one? It's not really a surprise, but it might be for the listeners. My hot take is no one cares about famous people anymore. There, said it. Let me be specific though. You may still follow celebrities and influencers, but I think we are always ready for them to let us down. I think the idea of us putting this bubble around a celebrity we really like is gone. Those days are gone. I don't think there's very many celebrities immune to that anymore either. I mean, unless you're Trump. Trump can do anything and he'll be fine. But Haley Bailey, that famous influencer, she got started this whole wave of banning celebrities. Kim Kardashian gets canceled left and right still. Justin Timberlake recently, a bunch of people said, how could he, drink and drive? Even America's favorite guy, Will Smith, was canceled, right? Like, people just don't care about famous people anymore. And the Haley Bailey thing I referred to, that was a huge trend on social media where people were literally blocking celebrity accounts. They just like legit didn't want to see their accounts anymore. They didn't want them recommended to them. They don't care about them. And you could even argue now that Hollywood is no longer the epicenter for entertainment anymore. People just don't care about Hollywood the way they used to. Content creation platforms have really given a birth to a new age of creators and influencers and entertainers. That's how we have all these, you swipe through TikTok, you get a bunch of average Americans selling you products on TikTok Shop now, making hundreds of thousands per video. That was the user-generated content age, right? That whole movement. And now that feels oversaturated. So my take is that people just don't care about influencers and celebrities anymore at all. But here's my prediction though. I actually think that we're going to see a whole new trend of how companies will market. If celebrities are not getting paydays anymore, now that celebrities are going the route of creating their own brands, user-generated content where you pay affiliate fees and stuff, that's getting oversaturated. So what's next? So I have a prediction, and I'm basing this off of a really cool profile I saw on TikTok. I believe there's going to be a rise in EGC, is employee-generated content. So if you work for a company, I actually think you're going to have general people in the office now creating content for your pages. And if you're listening to this, go on TikTok, look up a profile on called Mohawk Chevrolet. Yeah. So it's a car dealership. It's genius what they've done. So if you watch The Office, you would love this. Their social media girl gets like random sales reps in the car dealership to do like funny, awkward things happening. They're trying out to sell a car. They're having these weird moments where they're trying to park a car and they can't fit in the parking spot. Very Parks and Rec Office-like. It is so nicely done, but it's all employees that work there. There's no hired celebrities, no hired influencers, nothing. And they're getting millions of views on each video. They have hundreds of thousands of followers already. And they're a car dealership, a local car dealership called Mohawk Chevrolet. So, I mean, this is, I think, going to be the new age of content creation and the new age of giving a big middle finger to celebrities and influencers. What do you guys think?
That's a really good take. I think you're spot on. Honestly, the word celebrity and influencer is like a bad word now. People don't want to be that. People don't want to be labeled a celebrity because everybody can become one, and it's not that interesting and fun anymore. It's no longer a private crowd. The EGC point is really interesting. I've been seeing a lot of that, especially that Mohawk one. I almost felt like this is just a fad. Honestly, I thought this was just a content strategy that is hot today, but it's going to go away tomorrow. But to hear your take on like this is what it's going to be the future, because all of these other forms of content are saturated. Like, where the hell is this going to go next? And I don't know. Maybe you just convinced me this is here to stay.
So I got a different take on that, right? So I think there is a new wave coming, and for new brands that are coming out or somebody that wants to be disruptive, I think the new take is actually going to be companies taking on their own personas, either virtual personas, company personas, having their own individual person. Like, you see these AI chats, you've seen all these different things, but I think the idea of, hey, look, here's a person that indicates, or character that indicates, kind of going back to those mascot days almost, and saying, hey, look, this is a persona of the company, and then taking on that persona, and that being the person that talks to you and interacts with you and becomes like, hey, I want to be that logo, that brand, that mascot. I think that's going to be the next take once this EPC. I do like it. It's fun watching these employees ask random questions and do random things. But on the celebrity note, I definitely agree with your take on that. I think nobody really cares about celebrities that much anymore. I don't think anybody cares about influencers that much. It's just a whole different, like, everybody's so numb, and there's so much exhaustion in this world that people just, yeah, it's nice to have, but not necessary. They're just too expensive.
And I think there's a caveat to it. I think athletes still have some weight, like to sell shoes, like basketball shoes, you need to have a good basketball player tag to it, right? Like that's there. But I think there's true talent there. And these guys have like guys and girls and, Caitlin Clark, even, like, their names hold some weight. Now you hear of you don't really hear of a superstar movie star anymore. Like no one really impresses us anymore, right? We just kind of shrug at every performance and we just move on to the next thing to entertain us. And so that's my take on that. Go ahead, Samir.
I have one example when you said basketball that came up. The NBA draft was over this past week, and there's one guy who got drafted who they showed him getting drafted. I don't know his name, don't know what team he went to. But instead of showing his basketball highlight reel, they showed his TikTok dances because he has 2 million followers on TikTok. 19-year-old kid. Well, Adil, that's not just an example of what you just said, that basketball players are still going to be like that next tier of brand sponsorship, but it's not just because they're basketball players, right? And that's where we've seen like a lot of these football players who are dating or married to popular TikTokers now have like joint accounts that are now promoting everything about their life, right? Like we've seen that over and over. Like now professional athletes are not famous because of their athleticism anymore. They are iconic people that they are showing up in their own content, and now it's just not just about being a basketball player.
I think Jared McCain, he has the black nails.
That's it.
Yeah. He went to the Sixers.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
They
no highlight reel. Just draft.
They literally made him do a TikTok dance right when he got off stage.
Oh my gosh, that's nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was fun. I don't know if we lost many of you guys listening to this episode, but you know, our idea was to share with you some of the things that keep us up at night. These were our hot takes, right? So if we missed anything, let us know. We'd love to do a follow-up episode on the hot takes. We will definitely rub it in your face if any of us get our predictions right. Right? I mean, we got to do it. Now it's documented that we were first to say this. Guys, I got to tell y'all though that the Mad Men Lab Idea Lab episode was super popular. Samir, great job with that episode. We got to do another one. So, but tell us what you guys think. Please continue to share the pod and show us some love. Stay fabulous, guys.
5 stars, guys. 5 stars.
Without the fire. See ya.
Ciao.
Men go mad. We've gone mad.
Mad Men.
The man's back.
Mad Men.
I'm mad.